Hello, Aries, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're warm and cozy where you are. Winter has really kicked in this week, and I'm freezing. I can't get warm. So I just keep piling the clothes on and cranking the heat up. Anyway, this will be your weekly reading for the week of December 7th through the 13th. During that time, we will have a waning gibbous moon, and that's a time of self-reflection and rebirth. Good time to really, buckle down and work on the things that you've been working on, but also get rid of those things that aren't working. Just kind of get rid of bad habits, negative thinking on those projects that you're working on. We do have the last quarter moon that comes in on the 13th. And of course, that is a good time for self-reflection and really, really releasing what no longer serves us and getting ready for the new beginnings and the new cycle that we'll be approaching. So please keep those moon energies in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Aries. So, as always, please take what resonates today and leave what doesn't for someone else. And your overall message for this particular reading is a fiery climax approaches. All right, let's see what the Aries Collective has going on for the week. As I'm shuffling the tarot, my fun weekly reminder this week is that you take a little time to meditate this week. So, find some time for yourself. Go within, still your mind, your body. Just get very quiet and just go in and explore. Just do that for as long as you can. I know, I'm a very hyper person. When I first started meditating, it was very hard for me just to sit. It still is. I have to really, really focus on it. So if you're like that, the more you do it, the easier it gets. So some people have no problem with that at all. I just tend to be I'm a physically active person. I'm constantly up doing things, this and that and the other. I don't sit still very long. So it's really good. Just some nice deep breathing. If you need to, there's some guided meditations on YouTube. I know that I've done, like some of the Monroe meditations are very interesting to do. But there's also just some guided relaxation things. So if you need those, put some headphones on, and that if you got some noise around you, that'll cancel that out as well. So anyway, my my reminder for you is that you give that a try, because we're in this waning gibbous in that last quarter. It's really like a good time for self-reflection, and meditation is really the best way to do that. So all right, let's get into this reading here. Aries for December 7th through the 13th. Let's see what you guys have going on. A fiery climax approaches. Your overall energy right now is the Seven of Pentacles. So looks like you're kind of waiting on something to come in for you, and it's seeds that you have already planted. So what could that be? Is that what this climax is? Maybe there's some work that you did, and maybe this climax is just money. Maybe it's like a year-end bonus because you've done a lot of hard work. We'll see as the cards continue to come out. But you're kind of in wait mode. You're kind of in not much you can do. You're just kind of waiting for things that have already been started to come to fruition. Your current situation is the Lover's card. So maybe you're waiting for something there in the romance department to come in. It's something that you've here's me covering up these cards because YouTube has decided that that this is not nice to have these cards. I was going to have my daughter draw some bikini. She's a way better artist than I am. So draw some bathing suits on my folks on my cards. Anyway, we've got this lover's card coming in, which is your current situation. So it may have something to do, some kind of climax coming in with a good argument or something that comes between you and your lover. So there's something that might be going on there that's a little fiery, a little more than usual. Here we are in December. Maybe it is about some sort of money, financial things, whatever. At the root of this situation is moving towards the future. So it could be a conversation about that. This is about new thoughts and ideas and things that you're wanting to move forward. So, and I see this as maybe a conflict in the way that maybe one of you is like, well, it's time to upgrade and move to this, we need a new house, let's expand, and the other one is no, let's not, and there's maybe some conversation that's a little more heated there, just about the way you move into the future and what you want to take into the future and what new responsibilities you might want to take on into the future. There might just be a disagreement there on how you guys are seeing things. In your recent past, is the Star card. Oh, here's the one she got me in trouble last time, actually. The Star card, which is about direction. And it's about, the Star card to me is about kind of reading those signs in the universe, those synchronicities, those things that come up um, that kind of show you that you're on course. But it is about having a direction and maybe finding a direction and like the clarity of direction. But this can also be, a card of hope and prosperity, things that are just moving forward. But it's about watching the signs that are literally written in the stars, So, maybe a you're having a revelation, or you've had some things come to you that do make you again want to move forward in the future in a different way. And it's kind of hard for your partner to understand that because they have not had the same revelations or signs or synchronicities, right? So you have to work that out in a partnership and in a marriage and in a relationship, because that's I always say that those kind of relationships are our biggest work. And it's about trusting each other when one kind of has that hunch or has a feeling about something, that it's like, all right, we're going to go with what you're saying here, fingers crossed. So, it could be that kind of thing that you're, you've seen some kind of signs or intuitions about something and your partner's just not really seeing it. So you just kind of have to take the time to really explain what that might be. And let's move these cards around. So the Star card is covered. It's crazy that we even have to think that way these days for my little cartoon characters on the Rider-Waite deck. All right, what's on your mind this week? Is the Chariot card. Yeah, so thinking about making a move. I mean, I was kind of getting the intuition here that this is about your house for some reason. So that very well could be. The Chariot card is about not moving, but about preparing to make a move. And this is kind of mentally in your head that you might be thinking, oh, the housing market is opening up right now and it's time to make a move. It's a good time for us to sell. Make a move in that. For some reason, real estate is really coming to mind right now. And I'm not sure why. It's like not anything in my life that I'm thinking about at the moment, but for some reason, this is just intuitively coming to me that you are thinking about moving somewhere, doing something kind of just like an upgrade in the future. But it is on your mind to kind of prepare for this, to kind of prepare to make a move and do something. So, again, hopefully hopefully you and your partner can come together. Um, it says a fiery climax approaches. Hopefully the fiery climax is that you find the home that you're both looking for. That would be awesome, right? Hopefully it's a negative, or not a negative thing, that it's a very positive thing, that it's just everything kind of works out and works out for you. So what is just ahead of you this week is the Wheel of Fortune. So this card can be really about change and involvement. This is about moving towards change. The wheel in the sky keeps turning. I don't know where I'll be tomorrow. That song always comes to mind when I see this card, because it's how life is. It takes one tiny little thing one day to really change your life to a different thing. And I mean, a real estate move would do that. If you're thinking about just imagine how your life is one way and all of a sudden you move into a house, you move and your life is just different. Your day to day is different. You're in a different environment. You have different neighbors. You're shopping at different places. You're just it's your life changes. You just the day to day scenery of your life changes like that. So again, I don't know why that's coming to mind, but I'll have to put it in the title, Aries, that some of you might be thinking about some sort of real estate move here. In your advice position is King of Wands, which tells me that you need to just really be knowledgeable while you're going through this process of what really lights your fire, what excites you. So if you are thinking about, and imagine looking for a house that you're just not, it's not just about all the practicality, but it's about being really excited about it, that, oh, this is exciting because it has the yard that we want. Maybe this one has a swimming pool. This one has this other thing. We're close to the woods. We like to take hikes and we're close to a park. We love to take our dogs to the dog park and there's a dog park right up the road. So those things that really excite you and really go along with your day to day and how you want to live. And I think it's just the advice here is to really keep those passions in mind as you're going through whatever it is that you're going through here, because you're just being called to do that, to really keep those things in mind. What is beyond your control this week is that you're kind of juggling these finances back and forth. And this really makes sense that you're trying to keep all the balls in the air. And it could be if you're making financial decisions like this, especially when it comes to real estate, that, you do have to make sure that, like, okay, can we, you're kind of running those numbers, can we afford this? If we make this adjustment, can we make this happen? So that's kind of beyond your control to at least have that on your mind this week and really be thinking about this, about kind of that juggling, like keeping all those financial balls in the air. What is your secret desire, or what you're trying to avoid this week is feeling a little bit stuck and feeling, and you're trying to avoid kind of getting out of it. This is about, how did you get here, and can you think your way out of it? Is this about your current place, and that's why you're having to juggle and do all these things, that you're just like, that you're feeling a little bit stuck. And maybe it is stuck in the home that you're living in now, and it could be, like, maybe you're trying to go from an apartment to a house, or you're trying to go from this neighborhood over to this neighborhood. I mean, there's lots of reasons why people want to make a move. It could be school situations for your kids, or some of you might be downsizing, kind of the same thing. We're stuck in this big house, we don't need it anymore, everyone's moved out, we need to downsize to something smaller. So whatever situation it might be for you, it's your secret desire, or you're trying to avoid feeling that stuck, and kind of thinking your way out of it. So think about that. That'll be your big question. Are you trying to avoid thinking your way out of a thing this week, or is that your secret desire? In your outcome position, Aries, is rest and meditation. So I was talking about this at the beginning of this video, that it is a really good time to rest, meditate, go within. Not only are the moon energies aligned for that this week, um, but sometimes when you're just thinking all these things through, it's a good time just to quiet your mind, really think things through. Something may come through. Sometimes you have a dream just because you fall asleep and a dream comes through and you're like, oh, that makes so much sense. That's kind of where that star energy is, those synchronistic things that happen in the night. And some of that is dreaming. But, rest and meditate here with that Four of Swords. That's really just about quieting your mind and really thinking about, those points that you just need to be, just still your mind and really think about, and dream, when you're meditating, dream about what it is. How do you want your life to be? How do you want that wheel, that evolving thing of your life to be? How do you want to change kind of your day to day and your scenery? So interesting to think about there. What is hidden from you at the bottom of the deck, Aries, is the Page of Cups. So I'm going to say hidden from you this week is kind of a sense of humor. So make sure that, especially if you're dealing with your partner, that you're at least having a sense of humor about things, and you're able to look at things and laugh and be a little bit light. Remember, you're here to enjoy life, and you're trying to, do this life with another person, and you just have to get on the same page. So I think that's a very important way to look at it, and try, I'm reminding you now, if you're lacking a sense of humor this week, if everything seems so serious, just take a minute, lighten things up, laugh, and remember why you're doing things for each other and with each other this week. All right, let's get a final message here from the Soul Oracle deck. Final message for Aries: have faith. That could be it. Have faith in those, and especially those synchronistic things that you've been thinking about or going through. Have faith that those things are real, and they're trying to give you a message there. Now, again, your partner may not have faith there if they're not getting the same kind of messages, and maybe they are, but it is something to think about and talk about. But you need to have faith that there's something pushing you in a particular direction, and there is always some reason there. So have faith in that for sure. All right, self-care for Aries this week from the Self-Care Wisdom deck. Self-care for Aries, and your card that comes up here is the card that is called Security. True security comes from having a reserve of time, space, energy, personal power, and love. Make deposits in all of these accounts, and you'll be a wealthy person indeed. So, making deposits in your time, space, energy, personal power, and love. Make sure that you are loving the people around you, that your personal power, that you're, maintaining that, and having deposits there. But also, yeah, again, like your space, this is again, when you make a move like that, your space, your energy changes and your whole life changes just because the scenery of your day-to-day changes. So Aries, thank you so much for being here with me. I do hope there was something in this reading that you can take away and use in your week. Don't forget to rest and meditate through all of this as you're kind of preparing, even if it's just mentally, to make this move, and it could be, it doesn't have to be this month. It might be something that you're thinking about in the future. Of course, with this Chariot card, it's like you're gathering information. You could be looking at real estate in different places, but I feel like for some reason I do just get the intuitive message that it is about the space where you live. That you've planted some seeds in a place and you're kind of waiting for something to come to fruition there. So, um, and I just get the feeling for some of you, it's going to be about real estate and about kind of making an actual physical move this week. So, anyway, thanks again for being here. I do appreciate your time with me. If you're comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a comment down below. I'd be curious to know, is this something that's on your mind? Are you kind of preparing for a move or getting ready, or is it something that you're thinking about anyway? I do post weekly readings, so if you hit the like and subscribe button, you'll be able to find me next week, which I think that's great for me and you. So, once again, thank you so much, Aries, and we'll see you next time. Good luck with all of this. Bye bye.